Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wednesday Call Live! Filmed in beautiful Burlington, North Carolina in front of a live studio audience. Today's special guest host, Stephen Davies and Ed Soto!
Let's go! Woo! Let's go! Woo! That's right.
That's right.
Woo!
Woo.
Man.
Man.
Woo.
So fired up to get to host TWC today. And I'm fired up to get to host it, and I'm fired up. You gotta let that Red Bull settle in. I'm fired up to get to host, and I'm fired up because of why I get to host. I'm hosting because Andy and Jane are out west surveying the Ring of Champions trip.
Oh my God. Wow.
And we've been seeing pictures, and I've been talking to Andy. It's gonna be insane. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Like if you're sitting there going, is it worth going agency manager? Dude, those trips, the Ring of Champions trips, are insane. And they're out, oh God, I'm so fired up about that. I wish I could show all the pictures. I wish I could talk about it the whole show, because really that's a show in of itself. But I'm fired up to get to host with my buddy Ed Soto today.
That's right.
And guys, there's so much good stuff going on all over the Alliance. It's on our team, it's on your team, it's on our team, right? It's going good all over. Ed, what's some of the stuff you're fired up about?
Dude,
I
I'm
think you need a mic.
crazy
Oh, you got a
fired
mic.
up. Oh, I got a mic.
All right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Woo! Dude, I'm so fired up, Steven. It's just like, it's crazy. Like, everything's happened across the whole country. We just came back from Traverse City, Michigan. Now Andy's serving this, Napa Valley wine country. Oh my God, these pictures are crazy. But dude, I'm so fired up. My buddy, Austin Heater, okay, moved from Boston to Charlotte. And not only he just moved with his, with his girlfriend, but it just, the type of people that were there helping him. Like, these hotspots are getting better and better across the whole country. So like, we have Mia down there helping them. And and thank you, Mia. But like, it is insane in the past 5 weeks. So if you want to say, does this work in different places? Like, let me tell you something. All right, he was in Boston and New Hampshire writing business. He comes to Charlotte, North Carolina in 5 weeks, submits over $42,000 in business. Yeah. Insane. So it works everywhere, dude. I'm so fired up about it. I'm so proud of him. And he became, I mean, trying to hurt nobody. He was the #1 agency in our hierarchy this month. It was insane. So make that decision, commit. It's getting crazy, man. I'm so fired up, bro.
It's like that all over. It's annuities are taking off. We got this annuity seminar coming up in Austin, Texas with a select group. I can't wait to see what happens after that. Like, I know that we're going to have multiple people break the $10 million barrier in annuities for 2020. I know it.
That's right.
I know it because we already got the momentum we got on annuities, and then Albright invests to create this massive seminar. It's going to be insane. So we got annuities cracking. We got the Greensboro, Detroit thing going on right now. Yeah.
That's right.
I'm so conflicted about this because, Greensboro's in my home state, but I got a lot of premium coming from Michigan, too. And some of my best buddies are up there. It's like, and I can't pull against Terry. How do you pull against Terry? Tinsley is pulling against Riddle, that's for sure.
That's right.
You can't pull against Terry. He's too cute. Girl.
She said, that's right.
Yep, you got that man on lockdown. I'm fired up not only because I get to be here with you today and with my buddy Billy today, but guess what? We ran a fishing contest, a fishing trip contest, and that's where we're headed to South Florida next week.
Woo! I'm fired up.
So much good stuff going on. We got stuff popping all over the team, all over the line. Speaking of popping, Glenn Lamb and Jessica Lamb about to have a brand new baby.
Woo!
So excited. But let's get started with some of our leaderboards. Let's get rolling with the Foresters Fire Drill. I have done this similar Foresters trip multiple times. If you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. But let's look at right now. Looks like Chadwick's in. Marcus is out. Junior Korea. Let's scroll up. Mia, you can smoke them. I'm telling you what. Brian and Melody Light. Let me see. You got. This is where we're at. But that's right now who's going. But look at where you're at. I promise you this. I promise you this. There's time, but there's not much. Does that make sense? Anytime you think you've got time, it's already too late. This Forcer's Fire Drill trip is going to be amazing. And it's not just the, Forcer's going to do an incredible job. They always do. But it's the association. It's the leaders you're going to get to be around. Andy's going to be there. His Inner Six is going to be there. It's a trip you don't want to miss. So watch this leaderboard. This is huge. The next thing we got is the Rolex contest. You need to have a Rolex. It's might as well. I had a calculator watch when I was in school, and that was pretty cool too. Here's how crazy it is. If you just go all in with the Alliance and you just follow the plan, a kid that grew up on free lunch like me has a Rolex guy that sources watches. Does that make sense? Like when Andy came up with this contest, he's like, "Who's your Rolex guy?" And Holly hooked him up with our Rolex guy. It's just like, I'm watching the dialogue between Holly and Andy just going, this is strange. It's so strange. Right now, my buddy Hutch, he's going fishing with us too. Michael and Angie Owens right there. John C. under Adam Katz. Joe Dukes. Sean Quigley, another one of my guys up there. Just look who's close. Look who's close. Look who's close. Look at Brant and Jill. Hey, if I was sitting up here, I would not be resting on my laurels. Look at who's coming. Look at who's coming. The Allemans. Look at who's coming. So you want to win this contest, and it's not even about the thing. It's about winning. Does that make sense? And it's about being seen as respected in front of those you respect. Does that make sense? Every contest Andy's ever rolled out, I tried my hardest to win, not because I wanted the thing, but just because I wanted to be respected by people I respect. Does that make sense? And that's what contests like this Forcer's Fire Drill and the Rolex rollout, Andy invests so much money in this to create an opportunity for, here's what it is, for you to find a level you didn't know you had. Wow. See, you might think, well, if I win a Rolex, that's the benefit. That's not the benefit. That's just the thing. The benefit is now you know you got another level you didn't know you had. Does that make sense? It's the same thing with any goal. It's not about what you get. It's about who you become. Does that make sense? And so when you pursue excellence, this stuff just comes to you, all right? Next important thing I want to talk about, the power of 10. The power of 10 is one of those things. If you're brand new, we need you on this leaderboard. Power of 10 is you. That's the first real big part of the journey where we go, now this guy's in the game. This lady's in the game. This could be the next person. So let's look at those next people right here. Week ending 9-7, power of 10. You got Lee C. under Junior Korea. Marcus Watkins, way to go, man. Christine, Laura C., Charlotte, Teresa, Carlos, Gildred, Caleb, Chook. Magdalia, Peter, and Craig, way to go. Way to go, power of 10. You made that first real move forward. Way to go. Way to go. All right, and now the contest, the cruise contest. We got some new winners this week, y'all. And to help put the stickers on, I want to get my buddy Billy Crane up. Billy Crane, can you come on up here? Woo! Come on up. All right, new winners this week.
Who we got?
Paul and Sam Minnicino. Another new winner this week, Tim and Nikki Long. Way to go. Another new winner this week, Michael and Angie Owens.
All right now.
Should have had there we go. I need like a third. New winner this week, Steve Memoritis. Woo! Speaking of Boston, yeah. Memoritis, I think it's close. Memoritis, like margaritas. I knew that. We just covered this, Stephen. New winner this week, Nick and Shar Thace. And I mentioned them earlier. Another new winners this week, Glenn and Jessica Lamb. Woo! Now, while we got you up here, Billy, I'm going to put you on the spot if you don't mind. Because last night, starting about 7 o'clock up until about midnight, my phone was blowing up. Hey, that poster's legit scary. Like, I saw Billy, and I was like, I'm glad that guy's on my team. Look like he's about to break somebody in two on it. I can't even do it, right? But last night, my phone started lighting up around 7, didn't quit till midnight. Dude, you absolutely lit it up in Greensboro last night. And
Appreciate it.
I'm not here to tell his story, but he fought through some adversity to get there on time, to make it happen. And you absolutely lit that place up. So what I'd love is just a few comments, man. What did you see while you were there? What did you feel while you were there? And why is it worth making your hotspot? I'm talking about your hotspot, your personal hotspot. Why is making your hotspot? Why is it worth making it magical like you had last night?
Wow. Okay. Well, welcome to Lions family. We got to start by thanking Jane and Andy. Truly, we thank you and Holly for just putting this whole opportunity together. I don't know why I was selected, but I was thankful to be selected, and then to get a chance to go against my buddy Terry Edwards, like that was just awesome. So first off, I can't have enough gratitude for that. The event itself has just been truly, truly mind-blowing. Like I said it last night, like I want you guys to have the opportunity to be able to pour into somebody else. Like the feeling that you get when you can help someone else, there's nothing like it. Like when you have people who actually want to hear you and you can just give to them, like that was incredible. The love that I got from the Wilsons, being so humble and open up their home for me. Like, I mean, like the family done more for me than the family that may have in my bloodline. That makes sense, right? So when you talk about the event itself, though, now this was good. So K Vegas, right? Right. What y'all say? Smoking hot. Woo! Well, y'all weren't that hot yesterday. Okay. All right. That's fine. See, in the Motor City say, we dreaming and we cruising, and we about to cruise to this victory in a couple weeks, okay? But we love y'all. But all right. So, but truly, like, they had 83 individuals in the house, and that was, like, awesome. Like, I mean, from the moment we started to the moment we ended, people were just walking in. And to get the opportunity, like, just to speak into somebody's life about this opportunity, to attack poverty, I mean, it was incredible. So, to answer that question, why do you want to make your hotspot big? There's somebody counting on you, and you don't even know them yet. Like, there's a kid somewhere that just got born that is waiting on you to step up, so when they turn 18, they can jump in this. Like, they need you. We need you. America needs you to assume that leadership role and step up. Because as you do it, you just don't know the ripple effect it's going to have. And I didn't know this coming into the Alliance. If you would have told me 13 months, I would get selected. Like, that wasn't even in my radar. But to have it happen is incredible. And I said it last night, and I just want to say it again. If you have a big dream, know that you will have a struggle, and know that you will get the victory. Right? The struggle is going to happen. But if your dream is big enough, your victory is going to be so much sweeter. So I love you guys. Thank you, Jane and Andy. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you,
So
Holly.
proud of you, man.
Thank you, Ada, for letting me go. T. Edwards, we love you. Thank you, guys, for opening up your house. I mean, it was just awesome, guys. So
Awesome,
we're excited to have you there in a couple weeks, so we're going to take it home, though.
Absolutely.
Detroit, where we dream and cruise.
Love that. Whew. Yes, we are going to cruise to a victory in Detroit. Of that, I'm certain. Hey, so it's not every day you get called back. I can tell you that.
That's true.
Hey, I can tell you that's such a great sign about our culture, that we can have that much fun while competing. Because I'll tell you, in the past, we had competitive things go on in the Alliance, but it wasn't as healthy as it is now. Does that make sense? It's a healthy, fun competitive. Does that make sense? And that's 100% a product of the culture that Andy and Jane have worked to build here. It's 100% a product of that. And I love it. I love the text back and forth, and it's all in good fun, and we all know we're all on the same team. And that's what's awesome, isn't it? So what's the subject for today? The subject for today is winning. Here's what I want. Here's what Holly and I want for everybody in the Alliance. We want you to win. We want you to have freedom. We want you to be able to do the stuff we get to do. We went to the beach this past week, and when we do a beach week, we do a beach week. Like the first 3 years of the Alliance, we didn't do a beach week. Does that make sense? Yeah. And sometimes that holds people back. Like, It's like they're sharing a 3-bedroom condo with 8 families, 3 rows off the water, and they can't give up that to go build their business. Does that make
Wow.
sense? We just gave that up for 3 years, right, while we built the business. But now we get to do beach weeks where, we can spend $20,000 and not worry about it. Does that make sense? 20, yeah. Hey, and if it gets cut short because of a hurricane, we're not like bummed out. We just moved the party back to our house. Does that make sense? See, but I want that for you. And it's not about the things, it's about the freedom. Does that make sense? Because if you have to worry about the dollar bills, and if like the thought of a vacation being cut short because of a hurricane just would devastate you because you got $500 tied up inside, I don't want that. I don't want you to feel those feelings. I want you to have that freedom. Does that make sense? I want you to have the ability to give to what you believe in. I want you to have the freedom to do the things you want to do how you would like to do them. Not a discount version. Does that make sense? And here's what I know. If you'd have met me, and I think about this every time I come to Burlington, if you'd have met me 18 years ago when I found this, if you'd have met me, your little heart would be so full of hope right now, it just burst. And I'm bringing that up for a specific reason. If I could do it back then, that version of me, with the systems we had back then, we didn't have the systems like we have today. We didn't have the protections that the Ark is going to provide for us over the next 10, 15 years. We didn't have the carriers. People say, how'd you know which carrier to write? The one we had. That was the one. What was your favorite? My favorite carrier was the one we had. That was my favorite. And what was the product we wrote? The one product they had. That was, yeah. Yeah, right? How much we got issued? About half. You know what I'm saying? And without the leadership team we've got now, does this make sense? So I know for a fact, if guys like myself and guys like Katz and guys like Fitz, the guys and the Leventoviches and the Abians and all the Connors, people all that go back to the beginning, if we could do it, I know you can do it. And then I'm thinking about the people that have come along since, the Riddles, the Paul Roberts, the Diane Lampies. Diane Lampy became $1 million income earner in 18 months. Wow. It shouldn't take longer. Does that make sense? Wow. And I say that with a heart full of respect and love for Diane, and she would tell you the same thing. Wow. Why? Because she's telling you how to do it. Andy's telling you how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what I want for you is I want you to win. And I want you to have the freedom you want. And I want it to come faster than you think it can. And so that's the subject we're going to talk about today. How to make that happen fast.
I like it.
How to get out of our own way. If it takes longer, it's only because we're making it take longer. Does that make sense? Like people say, how long does it take you to get from your house to Andy's? About as long as I allow it to take. Does that make sense? I always say 2 hours and 45 minutes if you're serious. But if you're not serious, you could turn into a 3-day trip. Right? You could take 3 weeks to get down here from Asheville if you wanted. Does that make sense? Yeah. So to me, it's kind of like the journey in the Alliance. How long should it take? 2 to 3 years if you're serious. How long could it take? As long as you want it to take, but I don't want it to take that long for you. Does that make sense? I don't want it to take that long for you. I want it to come quicker. And so that's what Soto and I are going to talk about. The first component he's going to talk about is who you're looking for. One of the things I was talking with Jeff Bright about before the show started was it's the kind of people is key that you bring in. Does that make sense? Like people that got a heart, people that got desire, people that want to do stuff, people that, don't need to be supervised. Does that make sense? So the right people is a key. And then I'm going to talk after that about the 2 things that are either going to propel you or bog you down. All right? So please give a warm welcome to my buddy, Mr. Soto. Light him up, baby.
Man, oh man. Dude, I'm just so grateful to be here. I get to do this because what Andy has provided to us. So the first type of person that we want to look for, or let's just say we want to work with, is grateful people. Yeah. Okay? So I have 7 types of people that we want to work with. This is what we're looking for in these people, okay? So grateful people, and people that they thank you for helping them. They remember where they came from. Okay, they put the ego aside and help others. These people go out there and serve. This is what I love about the Alliance is you see leaders like Paul and Davies and Riddle go out there and serve Albright. Like the inner six. Like Albright get to do what he does for us and travel and check out this Napa Valley. I can't wait for next year. I'm excited. I'm going horseback riding. I don't know how I'm going to get up the top of that horse. But it's going to happen.
I'm
gonna
buying a cowboy hat right now. I'm going to buy you a cowboy hat.
But I'm so grateful that you guys, the people in the home office, people that work here, take all that stuff away from Albright for he's able to build a business, able to travel, okay? I'm so grateful for Robbie Crafts to manage the Army while Albright is gone, okay? Because it lets us do more when he's out there, okay? I'm grateful that, you know, Jane shares him with us, you know? So we're looking for grateful people that, you know, they're thankful once you learn. They just got a great heart, okay? The other type of person that I'm looking for are people that are super coachable. People that are coachable makes this business a lot easier. They put their pride aside, their ego aside, and they just want to learn. So these people, they listen with an intent of change. They want to change. Okay, like I struggled because I wanted it to be my way. See, I worked at, you guys have Dick's Sporting Goods over here? I used to be the best cashier in the East Coast back in the day. Okay, so I was a cashier and I did door-to-door sales. Okay, and I thought I was the greatest salesman in the world. Okay, so I thought I was bad. Well, I can't see that word. Okay, donkey. Okay, so I thought I used to be the best person, and nobody can teach me new tricks. Nobody can teach me new anything. It's my way or the highway. Don't be like that. Be coachable. Like the things that all these leaders that have been here for so long went through, they can teach you things that can project you to become the next fastest millionaire in a company, or the fastest growing agency manager. It's up to y'all. Okay? Like I'm talking to you in TV land, be coachable because they want to help you. Trust me. See, when you start putting your ego aside what did Paul Roberts say? He said, you fall to the learning of your level of your training. Okay? So when we share stuff with you or your upline, or I don't like saying upline, teammates, okay, business partners, okay? So like Davey shares something with me, okay, I learned to that level of my training. So he's teaching you principles. It's not always where you're at. He's trying to teach you things, or our leaders are teaching us things for us to sustain. Not a quick fix. Okay, so they're teaching us principles, so be coachable. Another thing is, what we're looking for is hyper-competitive people. We need more hyper-competitive people. No all this sensitive stuff, all right? We need more people that want to win. Like, I'm fired up. Like, when this boxing match started coming, I was like, oh, my God, this is crazy. I'm excited. I was there last night just because I wanted to be part of it. I had FOMO. I said, cannot miss this, okay? So I was fired up. I'm a big FOMO guy. I hate missing things. And so we're looking for hyper-competitive people. Like the first person that comes to mind with hyper-competitive that wants to win, these people want to win, is my buddy Andy Riddle.
That's right.
Okay? He wants to win. He is a winner. And he's getting the recognition from Andy Albright because he's leading from the front and kicking everybody's butt and recruiting. Okay? I just say how it is. I see the numbers. Okay? So we want more people like Andy Riddle that just run the play. Andy Albright is the quarterback, and he's the coach, and he's running the play. You just got to run it. We all got to go right at the same time, not jump off sides. So more hyper-competitive people. See, you see these Alliance Aidens and Alliance Alice. This is what we're looking for. If you're with us already, we're not talking about you. We're looking for them now. So don't get sensitive. Like I'm 30. Like okay, so it's from 18 to 28. So that means I'm not an Aiden no more. I'm not going to get hurt by that. I'm looking for more Aidens and Alice. All right, because those are the people that are going to be the new blood and hyper-competitive people that are going to take us to $1 billion company. But we need people across the country to step up. And I'll say this, we have hyper-competitive people, but I think we're afraid to step on other people's toes. I just want to say this, if you're out there, you're hyper-competitive, we need you to go out there and lead from the front. We need you to follow Andy Albright and what he's saying and what his vision for this company, and go out there and just, you know what, I'm just going to go lead from the front and do what Andy Albright tells me to do. We need you. Come on. The fourth thing is we need just good people. People with a good heart. People that just love people. And people that are vulnerable with other people. And that is so powerful, because when I talk to people, when I talk about people with a good heart that loves people, who you guys think about? My buddy Paul Roberts. Like 2017, it was November 2017, and Andy said, go down to Louisville. And I said, all right. He's talking about Paul Roberts, and he welcomed me with warm arms. Like, he was like, come in, buddy. He didn't have to come to the office and spend 3 hours with me before the hotspot. He just went out there and worked and shared with me what he was doing, okay? And the time and the place that you guys probably didn't know that I was struggling. Wow. And then he didn't judge me, okay? He just poured into me with love, so thank you. But we need more people like Paul that share their heart, okay? They're vulnerable, that they just don't, they share their victories, and and they might be going through stuff, but then you don't have to know. Yeah. That makes sense? Yeah. Like, always attach, before you share something negative, have a victory attached to it. That is big. When he said that, it's massive, guys. I'm telling you, like, when I was down here in mindset, and now when I'm up here, it's just a different perspective. I'm the same person, but it's just different mindset. And you look at things differently from up here than down there. Yeah. It's because if you're struggling, okay, it's because you're not understanding where the principles are at. You're not, they're trying to help us, and we just got to put our heart, into it, and just let them help them. Let us help us. Okay, so how this works is, you do something, okay, they help you. They want to help you because everything what they do, it goes up. That's not true. Okay, it's a big pyramid, one of these, okay. Number 5, we're looking for people that ask great questions. Not like the same question every week. So like, somebody comes in the hospital and say, hey, what do you do this when you do this? And the next week, he's the same person asking the same questions. Okay, and the same question. And then 3 weeks later on, Gina Hawk's there, they ask the same question. Like, we're looking for people that want to ask. I mean, they're out there, I'm telling you. Whew, I go to some of these hospitals, like, man, I bet you ask that person the same question. They're trying to see if everything works. It works. People wouldn't be traveling 10 hours or driving from Detroit to go Greensboro and share their story if this wasn't real. Yeah. Okay? It's real. That's right. So people that ask great questions, not only just great questions, but people, they want to learn from those great questions. Mm-hmm. Like, they have something attached to the question they're asking. They want to know more. For example, if you ask a great question and not getting the results, so your upline told you, hey, do this way, but you're not getting the results, don't get mad because you're not getting the result. Say, hey, I'm doing this. What am I missing? Right. Go from like a 1,000-foot view, like, all right, I did exactly what you're doing. What am I missing? Is there something I'm missing? Help me. And they will help you. Right. Okay? A person that comes in mind that asks great questions when I'm in the room is Diane Lampy. She asks great questions. Like, sometimes I'm like, ooh, that's good. I'm going to use that. Okay? But you ask great questions. It's no wonder where she's at right now. $15 million woman. Okay? So, like, she asks great questions because she wants to grow, and take those questions she asks Albright and teach her team. So ask great questions. Don't ask the same one. Please don't. All right. And then number 6, people that have zero excuses. We're looking for people that have zero excuses. Hey, did you dial today? Well, what happened? All right, just zero excuses. Like people that they're overcomers. People might be going through situations because we don't know if the person next to you, like if I don't know if the boss is having a different situation than my buddy Billy, okay? So like we don't know. So you don't never know when the other person's, problems are coming. What I love is people that are overcomers that share their story, okay, their victory after. And the best example that I can show you is my buddy Stephen Davies. Like he has gone through so much. And I remember it was on stage, I want to say NatCon 2017. He went on stage and he does a 9 o'clock Sunday after church service, and how to go EVP. That's one of my favorites. I'm like, I'm gonna sit there in front. And then he says something, some of the hardest things that he was going through in his life. Okay, and I don't think I shared this before, but he was going through some hard stuff, right? And while he was going through some hard stuff, he found my buddy Gustavo Tiran. Okay, and then a couple months later, he said, I was going through some more hard stuff, and I found Ed Soto. So you never know where you're going. It's like the story about 3 foot from gold, the little story. It's just like that. You never know what's gonna. You said it perfectly in Greensboro last night, Billy. I just had a little bird. Birdie, squirrel. You're talking about like the struggle. When you have struggle, okay, you know you're supposed to win. You have victory attached to it. Right. And that is the most, like, zero excuses because the other person's going through a situation to you, So, and I thank him for teaching me that and these leaders because we never know, oh, well, I couldn't dial because my car broke down. Like, you didn't give an excuse when your car broke down coming down here. I love you for that, dude. That is awesome. That is powerful. You just changed somebody's life in Greensboro last night, okay, because he didn't make an excuse like, hey, I can't make it. He found a way and got there. That's what winners do. That's what leaders do. So if you want to cross that line, it's a line right here, guys. Okay, that's what it takes. Zero excuses. Don't share them. Okay. And the seventh thing is people that love to learn, like they're students. Like Andy Albright, I'm like, last week he was like, man, we're just gonna read the book and share it to you. I was like, yes. Okay, because I love to read now. I never used to. Like the only book I read was Mouse and Men, and in high school, Of Mice and Men. In college, yeah, that was a different story. So I didn't read no books. So when I came here, I said, we gotta read books. See, here's the thing. They know, our leaders know if you're reading or not. Okay? So they're always testing us. Okay? I'm about to give a big secret just to let you know. All right? So they're always testing us. And Stephen will call me and say, hey, what book you reading? I'm like, phew. Boy, the 8 Steps. I'm reading the 8 Steps. 6 months later, he said, what book you reading? I was like, dude, that 8 Step is good, bro. I know he remembers. And he was like, this is the reason I'm still at this level. Okay? So they give us these books. How many of y'all have read all 4? Okay? How many of y'all have read them multiple times? It's everything that we have is in there to become a millionaire, to make 6 figures easy, to build a massive agency. It's in there to give us a recipe. But they say only 1% of the people read it. Whew, that's a stat. I don't know. Okay? Don't be part of that stat. Read them. Okay? People that want to learn. And when I talk about people that want to learn is the Leventoviches. Like they're always learning. They're students of I call this a game. This is a big game. Okay? Like this is a game. It's like Monopoly, man. This is the game board. And it's real money, real. So like the Leventoviches are always learning and serving and going out there and teaching and doing boot camps and that's what I love about them. They all go out there and they take what they learn from Albright and they share it, not with just their team, with the whole alliance. So I love them a lot. They have been a blessing for our agency, and I just want to say thank you for all you leaders that I edified. You have impacted me a lot in our agency as a team, and I bet you have impacted a lot of people in the alliance. Yeah. So like a lot of people don't say that and don't share that. I want to let you guys know that. But then there's the opposite of that. Okay, people that I really don't want to work with, or I try to protect my time with. Yeah. Okay, so I got 3 of them. I couldn't come up with more. I thought it was going to be bad if I came out with more. People that we're trying to protect our time with is people that play the victim. They say things like, I just got a bad lead. Okay, it's raining outside, a hurricane's coming. People that, you don't understand what I'm coming from. Oh, that's the way I am. They try to play the victim. While meanwhile, there's people that are having success where they're at. Right. And they just think they're just all magical. The only difference is they're working. Work, and they have a great attitude. Attitude and work, okay? That's what they're doing. So the number 2, and I'll speed up, my time is almost done. People who play the blame game. They blame others. It's never their fault. They don't have no response. It's not their responsibility. Right. You should have told me. Okay. Like the TWC is every Wednesday at 12:30. Right. Okay. Oh well, you didn't tell me it was at 12:30. You've been here for 3 years. Like it's like the first thing we teach. Okay. People that blame others. I'm really guarded with these type of people. I'm really guarded with people that blame others. I'm guarded to share my victories and share my losses, okay? Because those are the type of people that go behind your back and talk. And the reason is because I know I'm just imperfect. Okay, I mess up a lot. So if I mess up a lot, these are the type of people that's gonna blame you. So I try to protect my time with them, okay, that makes sense? And lastly, our Chris Hill looked at it. He was like, dude, what are you saying? And I was like, well, I don't know. He said, that's a different word, Ed. I said, people who make a mountain out of a molehill. Okay, I said mud puddle. Okay, he said, what is that? You know what I meant? I just put some Puerto Rican in it. I'm sorry. These are people who over-exaggerates a small little crisis and make it huge. Okay, so if I want to work with somebody, I want to work with the people, the 7 things that I'm looking for people. The other people, if you're there, you can switch. You can make a decision to become a person that we want to work with. It's like because it doesn't go with race or height or weight, or you can decide to change that. And I learned these things and principles because my buddy, Stephen Davies, okay? And I'm telling you guys right now, like if you haven't written nothing down today, like Stephen's about to share some crazy stuff with you today. And I'm fired up because I heard some of it, and I'm gonna take some more notes. And Stephen's somebody that is truly, truly dear to my heart. He has helped me tremendously grow as a person, as a leader, as a brother, as a son. And I want you to take advantage of his time here. Put your phone down, get off of Facebook, whatever you're doing in TV land. He's about to share his heart here. He's about to share, okay, how to get started really, really fast with the Alliance. If y'all can help him, welcome my buddy, Stephen Davis! Okay, let him up. Woo!
That's right.
You got a pen.
I got a pen now.
You got a pen. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Get serious.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Oh, man. Can I draw on the whole thing? There's lines here. Is that? Can I? Show me now?
Above the mark.
I'm moving it with my mind. I got this. Just kind of want the whole thing. I guess I can just write in here, but I want to write all the way over here too. All right, let's get going. So, Ed told us what to look for. And if you look for the right people, you're going to win.
Okay.
But why do some win quicker? Why does it take longer for others? Why do some not win at all, even if they've got good people?
All right.
You know, really, what I'm getting at is what drives your fate or your destiny in the alliance. And when I use that word, I'm always very careful to use that word, because let me tell you something. Fate, that word fate, it's the narcotic of choice of lazy people.
Wow.
Because when they don't do what they're supposed to do and crap hits the fan and everything gets messed up, I guess it just wasn't meant to be. Right? They blame it on fate. I had a guy at a hot spot one time say, no, everything is already set. And I was like, except that it's not. Right? You ever heard of sowing and reaping? Now think about you have to choose. There's choice in it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Just like on Star Wars, when Darth Vader was like, "It's your destiny," right? And Luke's like, "No." Maybe that's not exactly how it went, but
I was thinking.
I felt that was the message. He's like, "No, Daddy. I ain't trying to join the dark side." But people they blame it on like their, for some reason their fate is to not be happy and successful. Does that make sense? Wow. And so they throw that word around. Fate drives me crazy. But what is it though, right? What is it that drives somebody's journey in the alliance? You might think about somebody's journey like this. So let's say they start here and they grow. This is their journey either in the alliance or in life. What drives the changes?
Stock market.
It looks like you don't know it, but it's about to be an IUL seminar. What drives it? What drove this person from here to here? Here's what it is. Two things. Choices and voices.
Wow. That's good. That was good.
That's what drove that. Now this person gets to here. What drove this? To here. Same thing.
Wow.
Choices and voices. This isn't fate. This isn't like this person is just destined or purposed to just ruin everything in their life. Yeah. This is choices and voices. And it doesn't matter whether we're talking about the alliance or we're talking about like progress. Like you get married, things are going good, and then you blow the whole thing up.
Uh-oh.
It just wasn't meant to be. No, it's choices and voices. Yeah, choices and voices either to one or both of the couple. That's what happened. Same thing in a child's life. This freaks me out. This is why I try to teach the principles. Like this is why I try to hammer principles into my children. Yeah. Because I won't be able to be there all the time. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like Chandler's at that age now where he's got his own car, which is crazy because there's no way I'm old enough for that. Yeah. Somebody said, how did it feel to watch Chandler drive his car for the first time? And I was like, I kind of thought it would take longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought it would take longer for me to get to that point. But what freaks me out is that he's going to enter a chapter where I can't be there all the time. And I want nothing but the best for him. And so what happens when kids are raised well and then it's choices and voices. The choices they're making and the voices that they're listening to. That's what drives it. That's what drives everything. The line from where you are to where you're going to end up will be constantly driven by choices and voices. Think about where you're at today. If you're not happy with where you're at today, I got bad news, but it's also great news. Potentially upsetting, but potentially freeing news. You are today the sum total of all the choices you've made and the voices you've listened to. If you're going, man, my lot in life sucks right now. I know it's potentially upsetting news, but it's also freeing news. You are the sum total right now of the choices you've made and the voices you've listened to. And here's the problem. You and I, we can't lock in either. We can't just go, got it. I only listen to helpful voices. I only make healthy choices. What will I work on tomorrow, right? We're constantly getting hit with voices, and we're constantly being forced to make choices. That's why this is something it requires constant attention. Because I want you to win, and I can't be there to guide every decision, right? Yeah. I joke around about, like, God love them, but sometimes you hire people where you feel like you got to call them and say, hey, buddy, did you get up today? We're going to make some dials today, buddy, right? You can't really help somebody that needs that. Does that make sense? And so if you can get people to think about the choices they make and the voices they're listening to, you can 100% help them be more successful and happy. Now, sometimes I get pushback on that, where I say it's the sum total of choices and voices. I get pushback, and they use another word that underperformers, poor people, upset people. You ever known these people? Like, I call them like psychic vampires.
Uh-oh. Psychic vampires.
Yeah, but they're not after your blood. They're just after your joy of life. They sneak up on you to. Right? You know what I'm saying? They just suck the joy out of everything. Yeah. Wow. Right? Yeah. Here's a word they like to throw around, and that word is luck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right? Fate, that's a choice narcotic of the lazy. That's a close second is luck. Mm-hmm. Everything's bad luck. It's just bad luck, bad luck, bad luck, bad luck.
No response.
Like they got some kind of monopoly on bad crap happening. You know what I'm saying? Why does it always happen to me? That was me melting. Yeah. Yeah. So many bad things happened, I started to melt. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, we'll call it the unfortunate melt, right? Yeah. I don't need to learn how to floss. I invented the unfortunate melt. I was trying with my kids, it was just like, yeah, just.
A for effort.
Yeah. Hey, I'll try. I ain't scared.
Right. New choices now.
But they throw back. But the voice coming through the stereo was so good. But they throw this bad luck thing around. They say, well, this was just bad luck. Here's where I'll meet you on that. Unfortunate series of events happen to all of us. Yeah. If you zoom out, though, the percentage is about equal. The problem is what we focus on grows. And so when someone focuses on that, it grows to the point that they think they have it worse than anybody else. Wow. Does that make sense? Yeah. So how does choices and voices tie in with unfortunate series of events that may happen? Here's what it is. Let's say this was, let me just do a new one. Once I learned you had unlimited slides, it was on. So let's say you're building your business, and then an unfortunate series of events happens. Right here. We'll just call that unfortunate event. Here's where choices and voices come into play. The length of the slide and the time to recovery is 100% determined by the choices and the voices. Wow. Does that make sense? Yeah. How long this takes will be the result of the choices you make. Yep. If we choose to feel sorry for ourselves, why did it happen to me? I always do the right thing. I love people so much. We all go in those modes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll feel sorry for myself for a little bit too, right? I just try to limit it to like a 24-hour period of time. Like something bad happens, I'll be like, all right, by tomorrow you gotta get your mind right. So we gotta go. Does that make sense? Yeah. But if we feel sorry for ourselves or we hold on to anger, people do that a lot too. Unfortunate series of events, hold on to anger. Yeah. How can you possibly pour positive stuff into somebody else's life when you're full of toxic anger? Wow. Does that make sense? Yeah. The time to recover is going to take forever because you won't be able to get anybody new started. Because you're full of toxic anger and full of mistrust. And that's one of the things I love and respect about Andy Albright the most. His speed to trust people again is It's crazy, right? And it's just, I try to model that, like the speed to trust again, right? So the choices we make, and then the voices we're listening to. I'm going to talk about 4 types of voices in a little bit. If you're listening to the wrong voices here, and we'll come back to the slide, if you're listening to the wrong voices here, the slide's going to be longer and the time to recovery is going to be longer. And I don't want that for you, because you know what happens in the interim? This right here, that's called life lost. Does that make sense? My goal is to try and lose as little as possible when something unfortunate happens. Why? Well, I've come to make peace with this. Well, I'm still making peace with it. I'm not getting any younger. When I was in my 20s, I heard somebody say, inside the body of every old man is a young man wondering what happened.
Wow.
And because I was in my 20s, I was like, no. Old people know they're old because they're old. Right? That's the less mature version of me. But as the clock works on you a little bit, you go, oh, I'm not special? I'm not special. No. It's going to happen to me too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially the older I get, I want to lose as little as possible. I don't want to sit on the bench of self-commiseration for years at a time. Does that make sense? I don't want to sit on the bench of self-sympathy and just feeling. I don't want, because that's life lost. I mean, you can't get it back.
Wow.
There's no refunds on bad days. You can't turn it in and get you another one. It's gone. It's spent. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But what drives that? Choices and voices.
That's good, Bo.
So let's start talking about choices.
Glad I'm watching this.
I love you, Billy. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's go back to this. Let me tell you what. When something unfortunate happens, I plead with you to listen to the right voices and make the right choices. Because your faith tank will get filled back up. But not if you're sitting on the bench, self-soothing, self-sympathy, feeling sorry for yourself. If you get back in the game, you'll meet somebody like Billy and Ada Crane, and you'll go, "This is the heart of champions right there. My faith tank's filled back up." And don't think it doesn't happen to people like me. Don't think it doesn't happen to people like Paul Roberts or the Leventoviches or Diane Lampy or Andy Riddle. Don't think it doesn't happen where we go through a series of unfortunate events and we deal with self-doubt. Like, I know it works, but does it work? Maybe it doesn't work. You deal with that stuff, right? But if you don't get back in the game, you won't meet somebody that fills up your faith tank and you go, by God, it does work, right?
Yeah.
So if you ever thought, nobody else deals with those voices, we all do. That's why the voices we listen to are so important. And I'm going to talk about a main voice we got to be careful about listening to in a little bit, but I think you kind of figured it out based on what I just told you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. That voice will mess you up. That voice. And that voice isn't even your voice. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. So let's get to choices. Now, we go back to what I said earlier about it's 100% in your control, right? The choices. And so when adversity hits, or feedback is given that makes it seem like, well, maybe I am just unfortunate, or maybe I am just doomed to never be happy, or I just want you to think about Luke Skywalker and give adversity the old.
That's right.
Right? Yeah. I just tell it no, because it's not true.
Right.
But I need you to make that choice in the moment, right? Because the bad news is you're not special. I wish you were. I spent most of my life thinking I was. But we're not special, so we are going to deal with stuff. We are going to receive feedback that makes us feel like maybe I'm just one of those people that just doesn't, we are going to get that feedback. You're going to get that feedback from parents. You're going to get the feedback from teachers. You're going to get the feedback from neighbors, whatever. But I need you to make the choice in that moment that that's not you. You don't have to become that person. Now, be crystal clear. While it's true, it's not easy.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? It's true, but it's not easy. But here's what I know. Happy and easy don't live on the same street.
Right.
So if you're on easy street, happy's not there.
That's right.
Fulfillment's not on easy street. Excellence isn't on easy street. A great marriage don't live on easy street.
That's good.
My niece is about to get married, and that's the first thing I'm going to tell them is, hey, just so you know, you better decide now what you're going to do when y'all aren't getting along. Because when you zoom out, the silent treatment is such a funny thing, isn't it? It's so silly. We waste a lot of life on silly stuff, but you see, all the good stuff ain't on easy street. I wish it was. I wish it was. I'm with you. But it's not. So while it's not easy to decide you're different and not allow that feedback to hit you, it doesn't keep it from being true. Does that make sense? Not liking information doesn't keep it from being true.
Right.
All right?
Wow.
So one of the choices I'm going to talk about is you aren't who you are. You've got to make that choice. One of the biggest lies that people tell is that you just are who you are. And sometimes I've gotten called sir and false prophet in the same TWC.
From the same couple.
That is It's a real divided opinion in that family over it. Now the amen corner started. All right. It's a meeting now. Oh, what was I saying? Oh, you aren't who you aren't who you are. We say I am, I'm just that is who I am. And sometimes we'll even use, and I love the stuff Jeff Bright does. We just did an exercise in the Ring of Champions where it was planets and how we behave as planets. But that information can be used the wrong way, and I see people do that. Here's how I know that. I'll hear things like this. Well, I just told him off. You know, I'm a lion. You know how lions are. And it's like, did you say lion or donkey? I'm confused. Does that make sense?
I'm glad he said it, not me.
Yeah, and if you don't, if that upsets you, it's important to remember my name is Kyle Cater. I used to work at Honda. Now I'm here. You see, but they'll say, well, because I'm a lion, I'm allowed to yell at people. I'm allowed to be mean to people. No, that's not true. Now, as a lion, you are maybe more predisposed, but you don't have to. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'll hear it on the other side too. Well, you know, I'm a golden retriever, so I couldn't really speak up. It's like bull crap.
Right.
You chose not to speak up. You had the voice in your head that said you should say something, but you didn't.
Yep.
I just can't close. I'm a golden. And it's like bull crap. I mean, I'm an otter lion. Do you know what a dysfunctional combination that is? I mean, yeah, I'm aggressive, and I can convince you why. Now, otters and lions they're not renowned for their loyalty like golden retrievers. But people can't go, Stephen, I heard you left Holly and the kids. Yeah, well, you know, I'm an otter lion. That's what we do, you know, we're not really loyal, you know, just kind of, you know. You see what I'm saying? I'm an otter lion, but I've got to choose to cultivate loyalty that a golden retriever might possess more easily than me. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right. I'll do you one worse. On the DISC test, I'm influence inspirational. Okay. My score on the DISC test is the same score that con artists get. Or maybe I just want you to think that. Plot twist, plot twist, plot twist. Plot twist alert, plot twist ahead. It's like a KFC inside a Taco Bell inside a gas station, you know what I'm saying? It's Inception level stuff. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, but it's also the profile of some of the top leaders of the Alliance. Does it make sense? It's a choice. Does that make sense? I talked about the Ring of Champions trip, how it's going to be insane at this Dude Ranch thing and then the Ritz in Santa Barbara. But it's the moments in those trips that are magical. One of the things Andy shared with us, and I'd known this about Andy for some time, but he, like the part of Andy you see on stage, right?
Right.
All that stuff he's cultivated. Does that make sense? Like he wasn't born and left the hospital with, 2 big smoke blowers in his head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when he started learning that successful people are like that successful people create pull, he started to cultivate those things about him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so one of the choices I'm asking you to make is or I'm helping you understand, is this a choice on how you use the certain parts of you that may lean one way or the other? Does that make sense? It's a choice. Just because you're a lion doesn't mean you have to be mean to people. Just because you're a golden retriever doesn't mean you have to just get bulldozed by the world.
Yeah.
I was coaching a couple through that, and one part of the couple kind of steamrolls the other all the time. And the part of the couple who gets steamrolled all the time was saying, well, I'm a golden. And I'm like, then bite it. Golden retrievers got teeth like lions too, you know what I'm saying? Use them. You know what I'm saying? Anybody ever been chased by a dog before? Come on. You got it in you, just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't use those things as, well, I'm just like that. I'm just like that. Because successful people don't. Successful people go, here's the question successful people ask themselves. And it's not just successful in business. I'm talking successful in family, successful in raising kids, successful in marriage. Here's the question. How do I need to behave? How do I need to behave? That's the question to ask. I'm going to talk about why later and help get some clarity on this, but how do I need to behave? To get where I want to get, how do I need to behave? Here's a question Andy Albright taught me, and this is when it comes to choices you're making. And I'm going to get into some examples of choices, okay? When it comes to choices you're making, am I living a millionaire moment? Because remember, whether or not you like it, life's moving, and you're either moving up or moving down. So is the moment I'm living a millionaire moment or not? If it's not, just make a different choice. Just make a different choice. So here's some choices. Do we choose to stop when we book 13, 15, or even 17 appointments? Or do we choose to keep pushing, get some extra leads, whatever I need to do to get to 20? Does that make sense? Do we choose to get referrals in every house? Do we choose to do the green sheet in every house? Or do we choose to go, not this time, I'm running late for my next appointment. Just, you see what I'm saying? All those choices add up. All those choices add up. One of the things I talk to people about all the time is being in the pattern of doing the right things. So what if you fill out a green sheet in a house where there's absolutely nothing comes out of it? That's a victory, brother. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Every time you go to the gym, you don't lose weight, correct?
Right.
But if you're in the habit, got that right. But if you're in the habit of doing it, eventually what will happen?
Yeah.
Does it make sense? How about this? Do I play a game on my phone or do I make a call? You're in the moment. Oh, I put my phone in my backpack. I could Candy Crush, or I could build my business.
Yeah.
That's a choice. If somebody's got a bigger business, they've made better choices. How about this? Am I going to invest like it's life and death in my business? Or am I going to grow my lifestyle instead? It's a choice. I see people, they'll grow their lifestyle before they'll grow their business, and then the money gets tight, and they go, it just doesn't work anymore. And it's like, bro, you were making $50,000 a year before you got here in debt up to your eyeballs. You made $125 last year. How is it not working? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Choices. It's choices. It's not just misfortune. It's choices. How about this? Watch a YouTube video or build a list. It's a choice. How about this? Speak up when we see somebody sharp or not. It's a choice. So you might be here, and then we start making different choices, business goes down. You're saying because one time I didn't talk to somebody sharp. Yes. But how do you know that person would have turned out to be a sharp person that would have killed the business? Here's what I know. You broke the pattern.
Wow.
Does that make sense? And it's like any healthful pattern. We don't just skip one day. We break it once. Yeah. Does that make sense? How about this? Watch another episode of whatever you're watching, or have a conversation with your spouse that matters.
Wow.
Those are choices. And that's slowly determining the course of your marriage. Does that make sense? How does a marriage fall apart? A little bit at a time and all at once. And I say, no, it all fell apart when he did this. The choices drove it down. Are you saying, so if instead of having a conversation that matters to my spouse, we get in the habit of just watching TV instead, that we'll go, yeah, I'm saying it happens. But it's a choice. It's a choice. Call that potential recruit now or tomorrow. Busiest day of the week for broke people? Tomorrow, right? So choices basically are going to break down into 4 categories.
So good.
Kind of run us. Oh no, I made it smaller. Let's see. Can I write more if I do that? No? Yes, there we go. All right, we're going to use abbreviations. The choices we make throughout the day are going to fall into one of 4 categories. We're either going to make a destructive choice, or a distraction choice, or a good choice, or a great choice.
Wow, that's good.
So when you're in those decision moments and you're about to make a choice, where would this choice fall? Distraction choices precede destructive choices most of the time. Why? Because you're now not feeding your mind good stuff. But it was a choice. So if I'm thinking about my choices throughout the day, where would this choice I'm making fall? Where would me pulling out my phone to watch another stupid YouTube video fall? That's a distraction choice. Where would my decision to go ahead and push through to book 20 appointments fall? That's a great choice. Good, borderline great choice. Where am I, you see what I'm saying? Where, at this moment, what am I about to do? Because you are changing the course. Every course change starts with one correction. Every single course change starts with one correction. Obviously, we don't want to end up doing destructive things. We need to stay away from distractive things. So where would the choice fall? Make sense? I love this story. Paul Mendicino posted it on the band. He went 0 for 20. Anybody remember this? Mm-hmm. Now, easy choice to make there would be, shoot, I'm going to watch TV instead. Yeah. Or, I'm going to call up and cuss the lead team out, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all don't think people behave like that, but people behave like that. Yeah. But, you know, they're a lion. That's what they got to do, you know? No, I'm kidding. What you ought to do is be an otter and con them out of some leads. No, I'm kidding. It's okay. We'll just convince them it's different. Man, me and this board are not getting along today. Me and this board are going to fight before the show is through. I promise you that. Yeah. Where was I? Oh, so Paul Mendicino, instead of feeling sorry for himself, he went out and booked more appointments. And I want to make sure I got my numbers right. He ended up writing another $6,072 in premium. Found a $400,000 annuity, 3 Bam Bam for IULs, and Bam Bams for 3 more apps.
Wow.
Could have stopped at 20.
Right.
Paul, when I saw that, I was like, I'm going to use that next time I get to teach on TWC. Because that's powerful. Could have stopped at 20. And a lot of people would have said, justified stopping at 20.
Right.
They always talk about booking 20 appointments. He did what he was supposed to do, but it didn't work. That's what Paul had a winner choice. That was a great choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because of that, his trend went better.
Yeah.
Versus distraction versus destruction. All right? So that's the one force. Now let's talk about voices. Any change in another person's demeanor or their behavior is driven by a voice change. And I'm talking about whether it's your kids. Watch your kids. If your kids all of a sudden start acting different or acting in ways like that, son, that's not the values we teach in our family. There's a different voice in his head. It's a friend, it's music, it's media, something's in his head. There's another voice going in there. That's the problem. He didn't change overnight, but there's a voice in there. We got to figure out what it is. With your agents, They're super positive and they're winning. They love the hot spots, and then all of a sudden they start missing hot spots, and they're like, well, you know, I had to run some business instead. I know you understand. And then they start complaining about stuff. It's like there's a different voice in their head. The voice that they change the voices. And with yourself, if you catch yourself doing something like, God, that is not like you. Come on, man, you're better than that. We all have those moments. So there's a different voice in your head. Another voice is influencing you. So, what voices do we not listen to? If the voice belongs to somebody, including ourselves, that is not where we want to be, then that's a dangerous voice. Now, with voices, here's the most dangerous phrase. It won't hurt me. I can handle it. Once you let that voice into your life, it will start affecting changes. Yeah. You'll see your choices start changing. You'll see your attitude start changing. None of us are above it. Again, none of us are special. We're all unique, but none of us are special. You can't have that voice in your head and it not affect you. I'm going to talk about, lastly, what you want. So, I'm crystal clear on what I want for me and Holly and our marriage and our kids. So that rules out voices. I can't have voices in my head that will interfere with that. Where do voices come from? Well, they come from people. They come from media. And they come from yourself. The voices that are driving you is coming from media you're putting in, whether it's something you're watching or listening to, the people you're around or allowing yourself to be around, and then the stuff in your head. That's where the voices come from. I was thinking about this. I had an agent that was struggling in the field. And he could book the appointments, but he just couldn't close. Well, here's what I find out. The whole time he's in the field, he's listening to angry talk news, angry political talk news. It's like, yeah, now I know why you can't close anything. For real. You got the voices in your head. You're going in there angry. Does that make sense? And people say, are you making fun of angry political talk radio? Why do you think the world's so angry? Yeah. It's angry voices in, anger out. You can't get around it. Yeah. Does that make sense? That's why I love being around someone like Paul Roberts. I'm so much calmer around him. Does that make sense? Yeah. So much calmer because it's a loving voice. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So here's what happens. I'll show you this what happens sometimes. We're going to go back to our trend. I talked about how choices can change it. You'll see this with people. Just so you know, when you're coaching them, I want you to know what's going on. When you're coaching somebody and you see this happen, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. This is what happened. So here, they were broke, scared. So guess who they were listening to? They were listening to Andy. They were listening to their growing up line. Because when people are scared, they'll make changes. Does that make sense? Yeah. So they're listening, and they're just doing what they're told. What happened here? Well, right about here, happens before this, the voices changed. The voices changed. They started listening to the old voices in their life. They listen to their broke mommy or daddy say, why are you spending all that much money on leads? You gonna go to another event? Right? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Event. You kind of want to spit in a Mountain Dew bottle after that. You gonna go to another event? Right? That's what happened. Hey, another person they started listening to here, you want to guess? Who said that? Themselves. They started listening to themselves again. It's important before I say what I say next that you remember how much you love me. And how much I love you. And how much you think what I say is nice. When people get in this situation, here's what I want to tell them. Oh, that ain't you. You didn't create that. Andy created it. Your growing upline created it because they were listening to their voice. Does that make sense? And I'll get this with people sometimes. They'll say, I was thinking. And I'm like, you can't be mean to people, right? Because if you're mean to people, you lose their ear. And if you lose their ear, you lose their heart, and you can't help them. That's why people say, I want you to tell me like it is. You'll lose that person in a minute, right? Yeah. You'll tell them like it is one time. And it's going to get ugly. I've seen that movie before. It don't end well. It takes every bit of me fighting myself when they say, I was thinking and I've made some changes in my business, to go, I love you, and exactly what fruitage had you produced in your life before you met us that made you worth consulting?
That's good.
Does that make sense? And I'm not picking on any one person. When I do dumb things and I start to think I have it figured out, I ask myself that same question. Does that make sense? Because the reality is, this ain't us. This was the system, the leadership, and the team.
Yep, you're right, yes.
If we take the wheel again, guess where we're going to take it?
No.
We're going to take it right back to where we were. Because that's the only thing we know how to create. Does that make sense? That's why I'm so paranoid about my reading and being around people that help me think at another level, because I know what a mess I was when I got here. Does that make sense? And I don't want to go back to driving up a busted up Mazda 626 all the way to Burlington. That will take about 6 hours. Even if you meet it. Does that make sense? Because that's what I had created before I found this system, this leadership, and this team. No different than in a marriage. The voices you listen to are going to determine the trajectory of your marriage. I got one of my buddies, God, I love this guy, but he's rounding third on his fourth divorce. If I can't listen to anything he says, does that make sense? Just because he saw 3 of them through beginning to end don't mean he knows a lot about marriage. Does that make sense? I'm paranoid about what the voices I let in my head, because I know what I want. Does that make sense? So what are the 4 types of voices? First type of voice, easy voices. Easy voices. That's what people go back to listening to a lot of times. Easy voices, the people in their neighborhood, their friends, their family, all that. They go back to listen to those voices. Only problem with easy voices is they don't have much to offer. You know how hard it is to get time with Andy Albright? It ain't easy. But it's impactful. Does that make sense? Somebody that's doing anything major, it's not going to be easy. But easy doesn't offer much. Here's another type of voice you got to be careful. Oh, crap. Well, there you go. You don't have to be a super good speller to do really well at this. I'm not a bad speller. I'll get most of the letters. Does that make sense? It's like I'm going to forget half of them. Hey, can you come laugh at everything I ever say? Because she's just got one of those laughs that's just like she's in it. You know, I love it. I love it. Commiseration voices. Especially, oh, thank you. Come on, it wasn't that. Oh, is that what that is? Oh, thank God. Okay, yeah. I had. Don't reach for commiseration voices, especially when unfortunate events happen. That's a voice that's going to keep you on the long trajectory down. Here's the voices I love. I love voices that challenge. I love it when Andy says things that challenge me. I love it when other people challenge me. If you listen to commiseration voice, you won't want a challenging voice. The other voice I love to listen to, voices of love. Now be clear. These two can be confusing. Oh. But know what it is when you're hearing it. A person that loves you won't let you feel sorry for yourself for too long. Does that make sense? A voice that's just commiserating with you, they're kind of glad that you're feeling sorry for yourself because they're feeling sorry for themselves, and now they don't feel so sorry about feeling sorry for themselves. Does that make sense? So don't get confused. The voice of someone that really loves you won't let you self-pity for long.
Right.
Make sense? All right.
That's good, Bo.
So what's going to help us keep making better choices and reaching for better voices? right? Because really, we talked about, we understand what's going on now, but what's gonna help us stay on the right path? It's knowing what you want. It's knowing what you want. Listen up, people don't make bad decisions because they're somehow mentally deficient. People make bad decisions because they don't know what they're trying to create. Does that make sense? They have the ability to make good decisions. It's not like, the doctor brought, the baby out to the mom and dad and was like, well, we ran some tests and tragically your child is born with a perennial bad decision gene. It's going to be one bad decision after another. Do you have a basement that can be turned into an apartment for a grown person? That didn't happen. But people make bad decisions when they don't know what they're trying to create. Does that make sense? Yeah. People make bad decisions about the voices they let in and the choices they make when they don't know what it is they're trying to create. That's the Monday through Friday 9 to 5 crowd. Just trying to slide through another week. Not trying to create anything. Why do you think they make so many bad decisions all weekend? Not because they're trying to mess their lives up, but because they don't know what they're trying to create. And so the answer to how do I control the voices and the choices in my life is know what winning looks like for you. I mentioned me and Holly's marriage earlier. We know what we want. Does that make sense? We're crystal clear on what we want.
That's right.
And so what that does, it simplifies the decision-making process. There's a whole cadre of voices and choices that cannot be in my realm because of where I want to go. Does that make sense? The kind of parent I want to be. I can't watch that. I can't listen to that because of where I want to go. Yeah. I can't be around that person and have their influence in my life because of where I want to go. And when you think about that, it's going to keep you out of some serious decision problems. It's going to keep you away from distractions. It's going to keep you away from dysfunctions. It's going to keep you away from a couple other D words too. Dead ends. Ooh. If you know what you want, you won't get sidetracked chasing something that's just a dead end. Right. I see it all the time with people. I just go, God, you're chasing a dead end. You could have just went out and hired 20 more people, but you're going to lose your mind and chase around this little $500 roll-up. Right. You're chasing a dead end. That person's never going to pay you. Stop chasing a dead end. Right. Go build a business. Does that make sense? Yeah. Grudges are dead ends too. Oh, God. I'm going to punish that person with my silence. Right? That'll get them. Yeah. The person that offended you will be really upset that you're not talking to them anymore. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a dead end. And I could keep naming dead ends. But the point is, if you know what you want, you won't make choices or listen to voices that take you down dead ends. It also saves you from do-overs. Because you'll hear this a lot as you're coaching people. Well, I guess I got to get back to basics. God bless, please don't leave them. Does that make sense? Right. Stop leaving the basics. How do we stop leaving the basics when we know what we want? We're not going to listen to voices or make choices that take us off of and away from the basics. That's so good. Yeah. And here's why this is so key. When are you prone to listening to wrong voices and making bad choices? I'll give you some times. One, when you don't feel good. Reach for that commiseration voice. Oh, you shouldn't have to go to that meeting anyway, right? Right. When you don't feel good. How about this? When you face disappointments. Hey, we go back to the other, the choices. When you face disappointment, we tend to reach this way. Reach for a distraction. Let me put on a movie. Reach for destruction when we're disappointed or when we're hurt. But if we know what we're trying to create, we'll more likely reach for a great choice. Does that make sense? Yeah. And lastly, when you're hearing it from the haters, I promise you this, and this is like money back guarantee stuff. If you're trying to do anything worth doing, you are going to have haters. Yep, you're going to have haters. Just get over it. Don't try and change the haters. That would be a distraction bordering on destructive decision, trying to change a hater. You're not a dum-dum whisperer. You can't change them. Does that make sense?
Right.
You're not going to change them. And they're going to hate you trying to change them even more. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's when you get the, oh, you think you're better than us, don't you? Yeah. No, but I'm trying. I'm trying. Yeah, you're not a dum-dum whisperer. So don't even try. But when you know what you want, you don't get pulled into that. And you don't get offended by it.
Come on.
Does that make sense? And realize, who deals with more hate than me? Andy Albright. Why? Because he's much bigger. Does that make sense? And the bigger I get, the more hate I'm going to get. If you know what it is you're trying to create, it won't bother you. You won't be offended by it. Yeah. Especially if you recognize where it comes from. Can I tell you where it comes from? Here's where it comes from. It comes from insecurity. Because there's a question rolling around whether or not they know it or recognize it. There's a question rolling around up inside their head. And that question is, what if you're right? Yeah. Because they've already wasted a lot of life on one way of doing things.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And the older they are, the more hate that's likely to be spewed towards you, just heads up. They've already wasted a lot of life thinking that there's only one way to do things, one correct way, and they've been doing it the correct way for forever.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the fear? Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you know where the hate comes from, it makes it even easier to not get offended by it or pulled aside by it. But you definitely won't get pulled aside by it if you know what it is you're trying to create.
Right.
Knowing what you're trying to create keeps you away from this side. It keeps you away from this side because you establish and keep clear priorities. Priorities revolving around people. Are you saying some people are a priority for you and some aren't? Yes. Am I saying people that aren't a priority for me, that they're not worthy of love and all this? No, that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about, I know what I'm trying to create. So people that are choosing to live different are not a priority for me. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's just not a priority for me because I know what I want to create. Yeah. Just like people that are working to create what I'm trying to create are a priority for me.
Right.
People that are trying to have successful marriages, people that are trying to have successful businesses, that's a priority for me. Well, knowing what I want makes that easier.
Yes.
Does that make sense? It also helps you establish and keep priorities with your activities. And this gets harder the bigger you get. Why? Because you got more choices and amenities. It always blows my mind when somebody can't leave their busted up apartment to go build a business. Dude, when we lived in our crappy apartment, I stayed out there. Why? Because I didn't want to be there. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. And that's why knowing and keeping that in mind is so important, because if you act like that, you'll grow. And then guess what? Options come your way.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Options and amenities. And then that can pull you very easily this way. Yeah. Right? It's the myth of rap videos and rock videos and the party hard around the pool all day, every day, red Solo cup, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's live like that for long. You see what I'm saying? We're supposed to be productive. We're happy and functional when we're productive. Does that make sense? But knowing what you want will keep you there. So how do you figure out what it is you want? Just start getting it set up. Just start getting it set up. What do you want to accomplish by NatCon? Hey, it's just a little over 100 days we got left. Right. If you've set a date and you were like, I'm going to be an agency manager by then, and if you haven't been working towards it, it may be too late. Does that make sense? Tick tock, tick tock. What do you want to get done by next family reunion? What do you want to get done by next fall? What do you want to get done in the next 2 to 3 years? What does winning look like? Does that make sense? Yeah. That's how you start to establish this. So as we kind of wind down, here's the deal. You got where you are. You got where you would like to go. That helps you decide which voices and which choices are helpful. And if you stick with it, that gets you to winning.
All right, now. That's it.
And here's what I know. We need more winners.
That's right.
We need more winners. Think about it like this. When you were a kid, you would work at something until you got it. Right? Yeah. I mean, I don't think any of y'all were quitters as kids, right? Riding a bike, we stuck with it till we figured it out.
Yep.
I know for a fact you stuck with walking until you figured it out. I didn't see anybody in here. Right? Y'all figured it out. You stuck with it till you figured it out.
Yes.
So here's what I'm pleading with you. I'm pleading with you to not, please, dear God, we don't need any more. Please don't be just another former child that learned how to quit. I'm pleading with you. Please don't just be another former child that learned how to quit, that learned how to give up when it got tough, that learned how to give up when you scraped your knee a little bit, when you got a boo-boo. You know what I'm saying? We got plenty of them out there. Let's not be that. Let's be an example of the opposite. Let's be an example of a bunch of kids going out and working at this thing till we get it figured out. That's what I say. Because you know what? We need that.
Yep.
We need the next heroes of the Alliance. Your team needs you. The people you haven't even hired, like Billy said, need you. Yeah. And here's what I know. If you and I, if we all of us, if we commit to making the right choices and listening to the right voices, following Andy's lead, I promise you, by this time next year, we won't even recognize where we were. Woo! Guys, we love you. Let's go.
Man.